the Lion King and the mighty white tiger. In the vast, endless savanna of Africa, golden sunlight bathed every inch of the land, casting a warm glow over the tall grasses. This was a paradise for animals, and ruling over this paradise was the majestic golden-maned Lion King, Arthur. Arthur was no ordinary lion. He was larger than his kin, his thick golden mane shimmering in the sunlight like a crown. His deep amber eyes held both authority and wisdom. Arthur had ruled this savanna for 5 years, earning the respect of all animals, not just through strength, but through fairness and intelligence. Every morning, Arthur would stand atop Pride Rock, a massive flat stone at the heart of the savanna, and survey his kingdom. Herds of antelope grazed in the distance, zebras drank from the river, and families of elephants lumbered across the plains. Arthur maintained order, ensuring the weak were not bullied and predators did not overhunt. King Arthur, an elderly tortoise named Toto, the oldest resident of the savanna, slowly crawled to the base of Pride Rock. The watering hole has been peaceful lately. The antelopes and zebras no longer quarrel over water. Arthur nodded in satisfaction, his mane swaying gently in the breeze. Peace benefits everyone. Toto. The strong must protect the weak. Just then, an unusual disturbance came from the northern part of the savanna. Birds scattered into the sky in panic, and antelopes bolted in all directions. Arthur immediately tensed, his ears perked to catch every sound. "What's happening?" Toto asked worriedly. Arthur didn't answer at first. He sniffed the air and caught an unfamiliar scent, cold, fierce, and foreign to these lands. Suddenly, an ear-splitting roar echoed across the savanna, sending a shiver through every creature. From the tall grass emerged an enormous white tiger. His fur was as white as the first snow of winter, almost blinding under the sun, with black stripes coiling around his body like shadows. The tiger was even larger than Arthur, his muscles bulging, his ice blue eyes gleaming with cruelty. "I am Snow Shadow," the tiger growled, his voice low and dangerous. "From the northern ice plains. This fertile land now belongs to me." The savanna fell silent. Every animal held its breath. Arthur slowly descended from Pride Rock and stood before Snow Shadow. Though the tiger was bigger, Arthur's presence remained unshaken. "This land already has a king," Arthur said calmly, but firmly. "If you wish to stay, you must follow its rules." Snow Shadow let out a cold laugh. "Rules? The strong make the rules." Without warning, he lunged at Arthur. The two titans clashed, golden and white figures tumbling across the grass. Arthur dodged skillfully, looking for an opening. But Snow Shadow was not only powerful, he was cunning. Feinting left, he suddenly swerved right, his razor-sharp claws slashing across Arthur's face, leaving a deep gash. Blood stained the lion's golden mane. Arthur roared in pain and staggered back. Snow Shadow didn't press the attack, instead standing arrogantly. "This is just a warning, old lion. By this time tomorrow, either you and your subjects leave, or I will destroy you all." With that, Snow Shadow turned and disappeared into the northern grasslands. The animals gathered around their king, their eyes filled with worry. Though his right eye was blurred with blood, Arthur stood tall. "Do not fear. I will not let that outsider destroy our home." That night, Arthur licked his wounds alone, deep in thought. He realized brute force alone wouldn't defeat Snow Shadow. He needed another plan. Just then, Toto slowly crawled to his side. "Your Majesty," the old tortoise said, "I've lived over 200 years and seen many battles. Sometimes, wisdom is mightier than strength." Arthur pondered. "What do you suggest, old friend?" Toto nodded. "Snow Shadow fights alone, but we are a community. Why not unite our strengths?" At dawn, Arthur called upon the savannah's mightiest creatures, Mara, the elephant matriarch, with unmatched strength, Jiffy, the giraffe elder, who could survey the entire land, Brutus, the rhinoceros warrior, whose charge was unstoppable, Swift, the antelope leader, swift as the wind, and Chico, the clever monkey chieftain, small but brilliant. "My friends," Arthur addressed them, his voice steady despite his pain, "our home is under threat. Snow Shadow seeks not just to rule us, but to overturn the savannah's order. If we do not unite, this land will know no peace." The animals pledged their loyalty. They devised a strategy. Jiffy would monitor Snow Shadow's movements from above. The antelopes would lure him into a trap. Mara and Brutus would ambush from the sides. The monkeys would create chaos with branches and stones. And Arthur would face Snow Shadow in the final battle. At noon, Snow Shadow arrived as promised. Seeing Arthur standing alone on Pride Rock, he sneered. "So, you've chosen destruction." Arthur replied calmly, "I choose to protect my home." Snow Shadow roared and attacked. But this time, the antelope herd rushed in, disrupting his assault. Mara trumpeted, kicking up dust to blind him, while Brutus charged from the side, forcing Snow Shadow back. "Cowards!" Snow Shadow bellowed. "Ganging up on me." Arthur stood firm. "This is not a duel. This is a war for our home." The monkeys pelted Snow Shadow with nuts and stones, distracting him. Seizing the moment, Arthur leapt from Pride Rock, pinning the tiger down. The two beasts clashed again, but now, Arthur was not alone. Every time Snow Shadow gained the upper hand, the other animals intervened. Mara's trunk lashed out, Brutus's horns threatened, and the monkey's noise never ceased. Snow Shadow grew weary, his movements sluggish. Finally, Arthur delivered a mighty blow, knocking Snow Shadow to the ground. Pressing a paw against the tiger's throat, he growled, "Leave my territory. Never return. Or next time, I will not spare you." Snow Shadow thrashed in fury, but seeing the united animals, he realized he could never defeat the entire savannah. He scrambled up, glaring hatefully. "You win this time, old lion. But remember, Snow Shadow never forgets an enemy." With that, he fled north, vanishing into the wilderness. The animals erupted in cheers. Though exhausted, Arthur stood tall on Pride Rock, his eyes alight with triumph. Toto slowly approached. "Your Majesty, today you protected us all not just with strength, but with wisdom." Arthur gazed at his loyal subjects. No, Toto. We protected our home together. A true king does not rule through fear, but by winning the hearts of his people. As time passed, Arthur's wound healed, leaving a noble scar. The savannah returned to peace and prosperity, and the legend of the golden-maned Lion King spread through generations, the king who used wisdom and courage to defeat a mighty invader and protect his land. Every sunset, Arthur still stood atop Pride Rock, overlooking the home he loved. He knew that as long as they stood united, no threat could ever destroy this beautiful paradise. The Lion